Hi there. You know, it doesn't matter how you travel, by plane, train, bus, car, or even by foot. It's always nice to get out and see something different. So come on along and join us as we look around Reno, the biggest little city in the world. Hello, I'm Jerry Pierce, inviting you to join me once again as we look around Reno. As we did our homework for this show, we discovered that Washoe County plays host to over 200 recreational parks. And we further discovered 3 parks, all dedicated to connecting people with wildlife in a positive way. And that's why we're here at the Oxbow Nature Study Area, which is part of the Nevada Wildlife Education Sites. And beside me, I have Adrienne Forbes. Hello, Adrienne.
Hello, Jerry. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good, thank you.
What is your occupation here?
Well, I work for the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and I'm a regional wildlife education coordinator. And what that means is that I help to develop wildlife education programs for the state of Nevada.
That sounds like a big job.
It's a lot of fun. We get to meet several school children every year and meet wonderful volunteers and get to develop lovely areas of parks and wildlife education sites and aquatic education sites.
How long has this nature center been here?
The Oxbow Nature Study Area opened in 1990. This is a partnership between the City of Reno Parks Department and the Nevada Department of Wildlife. And of course, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service gives the Nevada Department of Wildlife in-kind matching dollars for volunteer hours here through the wildlife or the aquatic education programs.
And how big is this nature center?
The park itself is actually 30 acres. The original site was an 8-acre park, and the park doubled in size just before the flood of '97 with a purchase of some adjacent land. And then the City of Reno Parks actually leases some of the railroad behind the park. So the park total size is 30 acres now.
I understand that you have other nature centers.
Yes, we have the Verdi Community Library and Nature Center, which is located at 270 Bridge Street in the town of Verdi. And that's a wildlife education center. It's also a school library for the Verdi Elementary School children. And then after the school hours, it becomes the Washoe County Public Library System library. And also then there are different interest groups that use the Wildlife Education Center as a meeting room. For instance, the Truckee River fly fishers meet there on a regular basis.
I understand you have one down in the big Washoe Lake.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, our third Western Region Wildlife Education Site is the Washoe Lake Wetlands Mitigation Site, and that is located just south of Washoe Lake. And the Lahontan Audubon Society has been an instrumental partner, along with the Nevada Division of State Parks and the Nevada Department of Transportation, to help make that a successful aquatic education and wildlife education site.
Why is this nature center so important to the community?
This Oxbow Nature Study Area is a jewel along the Truckee River. Being so close to downtown Reno and in an urban area, we actually have wildlife that frequent through the Oxbow area following the Truckee River corridor. And this provides a lovely opportunity for the public to come and connect with nature. Oxbow Nature Study Area is also one of the last stand of cottonwood trees along the Truckee River corridor within the city limits. And this park represents what our city of Reno looked like over 100 years ago.
Well, that was beyond my time.
Good.
You know, I'd like to take a little tour.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
That's great. It's a beautiful fall day. Let's go for a walk.
How do you start?
We're going to start along the river deck and look west along the Truckee River, and then we're going to come through the trail system and have a look at the pond and then go back along the river in the Oxbow.
How many children do you estimate come through here every week or month?
Well, on an annual basis, we have about 15,000 school children from the Washoe County schools that visit the education sites. So on a given day, you would come in and see a busload of about 60 students from the Washoe County School District enjoying the park.
That's why it's so important
That's right.
to the community.
That's right, not only for the public, but also for our school children to experience nature outdoors, to find out about our wildlife that live here, and to connect with wildlife in a positive way.
Now, is there a charge for the walkthrough?
No, this is a public park, and there's no charge at all.
I mean, it's free?
It's a free park, yes, it is. It's a free park. The trails are open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until sunset, and the building is open if there is someone in the building. So we're going to go outside on the trails, so now the building's locked. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Okay.
We have here a teacher who has brought several children to the park. Right, so it should say the Nature Center. And your name?
My name's Kathy Olgwin.
Where are you from?
I'm from Reno, and I teach at Sarah Winnemucca first grade.
What do you think of the Nature Center like this?
I have been coming here for 15 years because I've been teaching that long, and this is the first time I've ever brought first graders. I think it's a really good experience. Most of them have never been out in nature like this. They're pretty sheltered, so I think it's been a really good experience for them to experience the smells and the animals and the plants.
That's wonderful. And you enjoy it yourself.
Oh, absolutely. It's changed over the years. Over 15 years it's changed because of the flood. So it's actually very different from the last time I was here.
Can you estimate just how many children you've brought here?
I've probably brought I've come as a teacher. They used to do classes here for teachers to teach teachers how to do different things. So I've come as a teacher in a class just with teachers. And then I've probably brought about, I don't know, maybe 5 different classes when I taught 3rd grade.
Have you ever taught any volunteers here?
No, I'm not that experienced. No, I'm still learning.
Well, Dan, we now have a parent volunteer. Let's find out what that means. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Beatrice.
And where are you from?
I'm originally from Mexico City, and I live here in Reno.
Well, I understand that you're a parent volunteer.
That's right.
And you came with this group of children.
That's right.
And you're helping out what they can't do. You're doing it yourself.
Well, I think it's nice to help and all the kids.
How long have you been a volunteer?
Since this year, when my son started first grade. And,
You enjoy coming to the
oh,
Nature
yeah,
Center?
Of course, and it's really pretty. It's my first time here.
Oh,
I didn't know about this place, so it's really pretty.
it is pretty.
Yeah, it is.
And how many children are you helping with?
Well, each one of us have a group, so I am here with 5 kids, so that's my group, but the whole class is like 30 kids, so it's pretty nice. They're having fun.
That's important. Oh, there goes the train. That's an Amtrak. I used to travel on Amtrak.
Yeah.
That's going right by the Oxbow Nature Center. I got it correct.
That's right.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you around here again.
Sure. It's really pretty.
Would you suggest that other volunteers help out like this?
Yeah, of course.
I
It is
understand
really nice.
they need them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bye for now.
Thank you.
Well, we have another volunteer, another parent volunteer. She's right here. Hello there.
Hello.
And what's your name?
My name is Abigail.
And where are you from?
I'm from Reno.
Well, that's a good place to be from. And what are you doing here?
I'm just volunteering for my child, helping out the class.
You're a parent volunteer.
Yes.
That sounds a lot of fun. And have you been doing this long?
This is my 2nd year. I helped out when she was a kindergarten.
It's a great way to get out and do things.
Yeah, I try to come once a week and help the class.
Oh, every week?
Once a week.
You're a good volunteer. Well, that's nice. What do you think of this Nature Center?
I like it. It's different. I didn't know about the place my first time being here. It's definitely beautiful.
Have you ever been to any of the other centers like this?
No, this is my first.
Well, good. Nice talking to you.
Nice meeting you.
Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. Now we're going to start the tour here near the Truckee River, right?
That's right. And just behind us is the beautiful Truckee River. And we have this nice boardwalk that we rebuilt after the flood of 1997. And it's a nice plastic boardwalk made of 100% recyclable products.
That's the way to do it, eh?
Yes, that's right, yes. So we actually use these river decks as staging platforms for classrooms of students when they come outside to do river studies, to study the aquatic insects, and to study the water here at the Truckee River.
Well, let's go over here to the river.
Okay.
This is a beautiful picture here.
This is an absolutely gorgeous part of the Truckee River, and it's hard to believe that we're just a mile from downtown Reno. This is an area that we use quite a bit in the springtime with school children. The Nevada Department of Wildlife sponsors a program called Trout in the Classroom. And the Department of Wildlife gives school teachers special training to raise Tasmanian trout eggs in the classroom. And so the teachers and the students raise the trout eggs in the classroom, and then they come here to Oxbow Nature Study Area or some other area along the Truckee River system here to release the trout.
Are there any trout in there now?
There are. There are lots of rainbow trout in here. The river's filled with glorious fish this year.
Sounds great.
It is great. The Nevada Department of Wildlife stocks the Truckee River on a regular basis, and the fishermen and the anglers have a great time fishing down here at Oxbow Nature Study Area.
Darn, we didn't bring our tackle.
Well, you have to come back. There's plenty of great fishing days left this year.
Sure looks like it. Now where do we go from now?
Okay, well, we've seen the river platform. Let's go over and have a look at the pond at the Oxbow.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay.
What is this?
This is the pond here at the Oxbow Nature Study Area. And this is actually part of the Oxbow system, and an oxbow is actually a former river channel. So at one time the Truckee River actually flowed right through this path. And over the years the river moves itself and sediment builds up and cuts off the channel and leaves behind a pond. But of course during the flood of 1997 this was all the Truckee River, and the Truckee River returned home and flowed through here. We're looking right now at the remains of a beaver dam. The beavers have been active here, building up sticks and mud, trying to plug up the pond here for their own use. And we work diligently to try to unplug the pond and keep the water flowing back into the Truckee River.
Do you ever see any beavers?
Yes, occasionally we do see beavers. They are nocturnal animals. However, sometimes on a cloudy day or a rainy day, it is possible to see a beaver. Another animal that frequents the pond is the muskrat, and we do see the muskrat on a daily basis. Another unusual animal that we see at the pond and on the river is the mink, of all animals.
A mink?
Mink, can you imagine that? Right here in downtown Reno.
How did he get here?
I'm not sure how the mink got here. I'm sure it came from another place and moved downriver. But we began to notice mink and river otter after the flood of '97, and so we believe that possibly they came upriver from the Verdi area. Yes.
Maybe he got lost in Lake Tahoe.
Well, I don't know. Can't tell you. But yeah, so it's fun to watch the mink too.
This looks almost like a swamp. Is that right?
Well, actually, no, it's a flowing, moving body of water. There's a well in the parking lot here at Oxbow Nature Study Area. And several years ago, the Lahontan Audubon Society gave the Department of Wildlife funds to help dig a well so that we could run water in here continuously. So we have a pipe that goes from the well that feeds the pond on a daily basis.
This is really interesting.
Yes.
And it's free.
This is a free city park, yes.
Well, I'll be darned. 1 mile from Reno. Who'd ever know it?
That's right. We do, occasionally we get articles in the newspaper about Oxbow, but mostly people find out about Oxbow Nature Study Area through their children or students. With about 15,000 students visiting the park each year, they go home and tell their parents and their families, and it's very rewarding to see the children come back and bring their families and tell them what they learned at Oxbow.
Where do we go next, Adrian?
Let's walk down along the Oxbow path back to the Truckee River.
Okay, we're off.
Okay.
How did Oxbow get its name?
Well, Oxbow got its name because there's an oxbow flowing through the park, so it's named after the geographical term, the Oxbow.
Now you're holding a stick here
Yes.
that some beaver, bless his heart, has chewed off the end of it, right?
That's correct. Beavers are of the rodent family, and they need to chew on wood to keep their teeth short. Otherwise, their teeth grow too fast and it causes the beaver a great problem. So as we walk through Oxbow Park, you'll see that most of our cottonwood trees are wrapped with chicken wire baskets. And there's been a great volunteer effort here at Oxbow over the years to keep our trees in good shape, the cottonwood trees wrapped with chicken wire, to prevent the beavers from eating the trees.
Do you know what, Adrian?
What's that, Jerry?
You're an encyclopedia of information.
Oh, thank you. I'm not, but I will pass along the information that I do know. Thanks.
Now where we're going?
We're going to walk along the Oxbow back to the Truckee River.
Okay. Okay, this is really a beautiful nature center.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Here we have, of course, our new boardwalk that we put in along the Oxbow after the flood of 1997, and it actually follows the Oxbow, and we see the beautiful plants here, such as the wild roses that are in bloom in berry right now, and we see the orange currant, and of course we have lots of the willows and the cattails here.
Something like this can only be found 1 mile from Reno.
That's right. You would never imagine that we would have such a beautiful, quiet spot so close to the busyness of downtown Reno. And many of the visitors do enjoy coming here on their lunch hour and having a nice picnic lunch and then returning to work during the work week.
What a place to relax.
It's a wonderful place to relax and just to be quiet and to hear the sounds of the birds and watch the butterflies fly by and hear the bullfrogs croaking in the pond and listening to the crickets. And then way in the background you can always hear the ever-going sound of the Truckee River.
That sounds poetic. Okay, down to the...
It's so, I just love to hear the river in the background.
Down to the river.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every now and then I see a marker.
Yes.
What do they denote?
There's a trail system here. There are 15 marked wooden posts, and there's a trail map that is the interpretive story of Oxbow Nature Study Area. So when the visitor comes to the park, they may want to pick up a trail map in the green box next to the front door and walk along the path and read about some of the interesting sites to see at Oxbow Nature Study Area and learn about our wildlife here.
Okay, well, we'll make a note of that.
Right. The greatest thing about this park is that the park happens because of all the volunteer effort. And we've had organizations such as the telephone pioneers from the SBC company and the Eagle Scout candidates and the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America and the Lahontan Audubon Society and just a myriad of volunteers who have helped us put together this park and keep it as beautiful as it is. And this particular stretch of the boardwalk was actually built by volunteers from the SBC Pioneer Company.
Do you need volunteers?
We're always looking for volunteers. There's volunteer projects to do with the maintenance of the park. There's also volunteer projects to do with the wildlife education programs. So if anyone's interested in spending some time with school children and helping teach about aquatic life here along the river and Nevada wildlife, we'd welcome to have them fill out a department application, volunteer application.
I'll tell my daughter.
Great.
She drives a school bus.
That's great. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We were on to the river.
Yeah,
yes.
we're going to go to the river. We're crossing over a little bridge here now that crosses over the Oxbow. We were just at the pond, and the pond does flow, the Oxbow pond does flow back to the Truckee River where we first began by the bridge. But now we'll go down to another beautiful spot along the Truckee River. This is actually the point where the Truckee River returns to its natural path here at the Oxbow, and during the spring runoff, when the river levels are higher, the river actually flows right back through here and makes a U shape through the park.
And that's the Oxbow.
And that is the Oxbow, yes, hence its name.
How interesting.
Yes.
And look how close you are to civilization.
That's right. Just right across the river from us is a whole community of people who enjoy living along the riverfront.
At any price. Probably. Well, let's have a seat here and talk more about this
Okay.
wonderful nature center.
This is a favorite site for the plein air artists that do their watercolor paintings, and they like to sit on this bench, and I've seen them on several occasions set up their easels and enjoy the shade of this tree and the light of the sun on the Truckee River and paint the different seasons of the park.
It really must be a good spot.
It's a great spot. It's relaxing and it's quiet and it's peaceful, and there's lots of nature and lots of beauty around here.
Well, why don't we just sit here and relax and enjoy it? Oh, but we have to get back to the program.
That's right. This is also a favorite area for birds. During the springtime, the spring and both in the fall, the migratory birds come through here. And we see over 100 different species of birds come through Oxbow Nature Study Area. So keep your eye out, look in the trees, and see what we can find today.
What I like are those Canadian geese.
Yes, the Canada geese, yes. They flock here. They're usually around the pond area, and they nest along the river. And there's, of course, the mallard ducks. And then some of the migratory birds that we've seen in the past couple of weeks are very different kinds of birds. For instance, the cedar waxwings have just come through the park, and they have a nice characteristic, a little tuft on their head, and we've had the grosbeaks come through, and they have very large beaks, and it's fun to see the different colors of the birds. And here's a merganser coming down the river right now, a pair of mergansers, and those are actually fishing birds, and they like to find their fish. You'll see them dive and disappear, and then if you look downriver, you'll find them again.
Did you study a particular type of book about birds?
Well, I think the best way to learn about birds is to start in your own backyard. Have a pair of field glasses and have a good bird guide, a good bird book, and just start even looking out your window or go in your own backyard and see what birds come and visit in your area. And once you get to know the birds in your area, then another good way to learn about birds is to join a local birding organization. Here in Reno, of course, we have the Lahontan Audubon Society, and they offer and sponsor field trips on Saturdays to different areas and to do birding. And there are mountain field trips, and there's coastal field trips, and there's field trips here to Oxbow or Davis Creek Park or out at around the Verdi area. They sponsor field trips. And once you get to know birds, you understand that you'll find in the different levels of elevation, you'll find different birds.
Enough to keep you busy.
I think bird watching could be a full-time job.
By the way, Adrian, what kind of animals or birds are found down at the Washoe Lake?
Well, during the springtime, the migratory birds from the shore are found at Washoe. And so just about any bird that you would see along the coast during the spring that flies along what we call the Pacific Flyway is found at Washoe Lake wetlands. So we might see the avocet or the tern or the willet, or we may see pelicans, we may see herons.
Pelicans way in here?
Yes, yes. The white pelicans.
It's amazing.
Yes, and they're fun to watch. And being with school children, it's fun to see their excitement when they see unfamiliar birds here in this great area of Nevada.
What's your Verdi Nature Center? What happens over there?
Well, the Department of Wildlife sponsors wildlife education programs and aquatic education programs. We built an 8-acre nature trail on an old trail that had been there years ago on the school district land, and the community and a group of Boy Scouts of America came in with an Eagle candidate, and we built an 8-acre loop trail system out there. And again, the Boy Scouts came in and put in the same wooden posts that you see here at Oxbow, and we designed an interpretive trail map for the trail. And so the public can go and enjoy that Verdi Nature Trail, and the community library is open on Saturdays, and it's open in the afternoons if the community wants to enjoy the Wildlife Education Center. And during the school days, we have school children there doing similar programs that we do here at Oxbow.
I understand that the Verde Nature Center is bigger than Oxbow.
The entire building is over 2,000 square feet. And of course here at Oxbow Nature Study Area, the classroom size that we use is about 800 square feet. So yes, the facility is newer and larger, but it's very different. It's of course a library and a wildlife center. And one of the highlights that we have at the Verde Nature Center is a very large 200-gallon aquarium with our native Lahontan cutthroat trout.
Oh, that must be interesting.
Yes, it really is a sight to watch. And we bring the trout in and we let them grow till they become large enough to release back into the river. So it's a real educational opportunity for the students who come through the center and for the public to see our native fish.
I'd like to get one of those trout, as one of my sons called it, troutses. Yeah, I'd like to get one of those trout for my pond at home.
The Lahontan cutthroat trout have just been reintroduced to the Truckee River system, and they're in a recovery program right now. So the Nevada Department of Wildlife did ask last spring that if anglers do catch the Lahontan cutthroat trout, that they do release them back into the river.
Sounds really good. You know, I think it's getting near lunchtime.
I think so.
Yeah. What do we have to do about that? What's our next stop?
Okay, we can continue to walk along the river and look at the cottonwood canopy.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's go. Well, Adrian, tell us something about this forest.
Well, there are quite a few bird nests in this area. I was just looking up in the tree for the Cooper's hawk nest. They had 2 young this year, and the young fledged from the cottonwood tree, and that was fun to see in the late spring. And this is a meadow area and a cottonwood canopy, and it's filled with lots of native trees and grasses and plants, and it's wonderful habitat for the wildlife. So wildlife is all around us, even though we don't see the wildlife right now. There's actually a family of deer that make home here in Oxbow Park.
They do?
Yes, and occasionally we get to see the deer come out. And there's all kinds of California quail that nest in the undergrowth here, and every once in a while you'll look up trail and see a covey of quail running across the trail ahead of you. And that's very delightful.
Well, that's really interesting. Well, we've sure learned a lot about wildlife education here at the Oxbow Nature Center. I'm Jerry Pierce speaking for Adrian Forbes
with the Nevada Department of Wildlife. And for volunteer opportunities, you can call 334-3808, or you can look at our website at www.ndow.org.
Very good, Adrian. Join me again as we look around Reno.